Well,
You're like, there's the topic. Go ahead, Nicole. You're the woman. Tell us how we romance.
So, okay, let's start off with what the guys don't know about romance. Like,
yeah, I was going to say,
what's the
actually, you
frustrating-
know a lot about romancing because you do the things the right way that most women want a man to do it. But you also know people who don't know how to romance.
Yeah,
so,
that is true.
You know, like, I get, and it's hard. I understand it's hard for men because I feel like when they are being romantic or showing their partner, their girlfriend, their wife that they care about them, guys are, especially if they like post something about it, they're like, simp, you know, which, and then to women, they're like, no, like that is what makes us feel good. But then they see another guy be like, simp, and then they're like, shit, am I doing something wrong? You know what I mean? So I think just along those lines, I think a good way for a man to look at it is to be a gentleman. Like a gentleman is a man, like a manly man.
Right.
But he does like the chivalrous things, like holds the door open and pulls her chair out and like tucks it back in when she sits down and like, you know, those sort of things. They come from like a strong standpoint rather than like a weak, like, I hope she likes me standpoint. And I don't know if that fully makes sense.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Because like, I get that it's just a bunch of words, but maybe you have a better way of putting it into more detail so people can understand. But there's a difference between when a man is like romantic or chivalrous and it comes from strength.
Right. Yeah.
Rather than weakness.
Right.
And I think that's what men need to focus on in regards to like the simp stuff or like being romantic and being afraid that like they're going to be called a simp or whatever. Because, and most men who are gentlemen and doing it right, they're not afraid to be called a simp because they are strong in who they are and what they're doing and being a man and showing respect and love or honoring the woman that they're with.
It's interesting too, because I think the simp thing comes from men trying to eliminate their competition by discouraging men from doing the things that women like.
I agree with that.
But it's the same way as slut shaming. Like when a woman wears something or is attractive, other women are like, she's a slut, or, you know, like that's what they'll say in order to discourage her from doing behaviors that would attract men, right? So,
well, see, that's complicated because I feel like guys, and you've said similar things, like don't go out and be promiscuous as a woman like that. So it's like, that's almost a little confusing because...
Well, I'm not saying being promiscuous. I'm just saying like women
You're saying they're like jealous.
Right. Women will see an attractive woman and say she must be a slut. Or something
or try to bring her down. Okay, that makes more sense because it seemed like... Like we were saying, like a simp doesn't really matter because you're doing the right thing. But you used the woman slut thing, so that's why I was like confused. But that makes more sense. Like a jealousy thing. Like when a guy calls another guy a simp, it's because he's jealous that he actually has somebody to care about and love, and they don't have that, and they're upset, and so they're doing that. And women, when, you know, they see a woman who is getting a bunch of guys, they'll try to tear her down because they're jealous that she has these options.
They're trying to eliminate competition.
Right.
By making it so the other person doesn't do this.
I mean, I agree with that.
But the romance, well, I mean, I guess I agree with you on the gentleman side of it, and it's like not being weak, but being chivalrous and doing it because you want to do it, which also means that you're not caring if people call you something about it. But I suppose it's worth saying, like, why are guys not romantic, or what do guys get wrong, or like, I mean, are guys generally romantic? Is that, what's the...
I mean,
the complaint?
I feel like there's multiple things, but I feel like there's not a lot of romance, or like on the other side, which we'll get to in another episode, the seducing or, desiring a man, because everybody is like afraid to care too much. So like men aren't romantic to a certain level because they're afraid to care too much. And women don't do all the things that they used to do when they first met a man because they're afraid to care too much or like put too much in. Right. Like everybody has an exit plan like already, which is messing them up because they're not ever fully like giving their all and being vulnerable and like doing things for the person they care about. Does that make sense?
Yeah, exactly. No, that's exactly right. Yeah.
So I think it's like, I think everybody wants to be romantic and to show the person that they're with and that they love, that they do love them in all these different romantic ways. But it's like, we've talked about in other episodes, it's like everybody has this backup plan though at the same time.
Yeah.
They're in these 50-50, they got their secret savings accounts, they're ready to just go if they need to go, that they're afraid to do too much. You know, and that's maybe more so like in the beginning.
To invest too much.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I think though the people who are missing the romance and things like that on the other end of like they've been married for such a long time is that they've just gotten so comfortable and they stopped doing the things that they used to do. And that's caused this like complacency, this like stagnation.
Or there's been built up bitterness between. So it's
or resentment that's never been taught.